directly affects the communities, and what are the initial impacts that we can recognize that, okay, this is caused by the desertification?
Yes, thank you, Chan. Anand. And a very good evening. As you all introduced, today is the 17th June, and following very closely on the 5th June, which is celebrated as World Environment Day. So this is very appropriate that we are meeting on 17th June on a topic which is very important. Less talked, everybody talks about environment, but very few people will appreciate what this desertification is about and how much uh, damage it is going to cause unless it is tamed early. Friends, I have the privilege of having seen four generations, and since it is for a student, and I am addressing the children and grandchildren. You imagine that I have seen my parents' days, our days, our children day, and even grandchildren. So roughly four generations, and the development in all these about 8 decades, I have witnessed that how things have changed. There have been many development paradigms which have changed the structure of this earth, and immediate problem is what you see and what you generally call is a climate change. And this climate change is uh, being realized by one and everyone. It is either too much rain or it's too hot. And at this time in India, June, the month of June, is very stressful for human being, human living, and particularly the poor people. Of course, the elites, the rich people who can afford uh, cooling, although they are not appreciating how much impact they are making on the environment by implying so much cooling system. And they are also I'm not sure how much they are contributing to realize this and make the earth more livable for their children and grandchildren. So, friends, as I see here in India, I will try to summarize the whole thing, and I'm sure even Southeast Asia, entire South Asia, and even part of Africa. I didn't have any chance to visit that continent, but I can imagine that Africa is no different what we see in the various documentaries. See, we have made the ecosystem, particularly the forest ecosystem, unlivable. Forest ecosystems are starving for water and nutrients. Every day we are doing something or other which makes things bad to worst. And you see, we are witnessing deforestation, which is a global problem, and no country in these at least three continents we are concerned, the Asian continent and Africa and other areas as well, that the biodiversity decline is imminent. I have seen how the biodiversity decline, see, from say about 5 decades ago, what was the status and what it is today. There's a lot of difference. Many species have disappeared. Many species have registered decline from 10 to 90%. And if this speed is not stopped at some place, some stage, it is going to see disappearance of large number of species. The water percolation in the earth is becoming very poor. It's declining very fast. The water table has gone from say less than 100 meter or less than that to at least 300 meters in many areas. The forest, the we used to measure the health of forest ecosystem by the water level in the downstream agricultural land. If you have a water body or particularly well or tube wells, we used to measure how deep the water table is going or how much it has recharged, how what is the status of water table in those water bodies. So today things have become every year, almost every year during summer months we find the water is going down and people are feeling a lot of stress due to non-supply of water. And I'm not talking of quality of water, even the water, simple water, which is polluted to great extent in many areas, except of course in forest areas and tribal areas where there are fewer people living. And this, you don't have leaf litter on the forest floor; they are burnt every year. There is no water percolation going on. There is no natural degeneration. Natural degeneration is establishment of natural degeneration is being prolonged, which used to establish. See, we are living in tropics, and tropics, every drop of water must go inside the earth. If it is not happening, things are becoming very difficult for us to live. And children, grandchildren, and I hope I'm facing the generation of grandchildren. And so they are the most affected people. And they see the promise as was, I mean, defined that sustainable management means what we have today should be passed on in the same way to our children and grandchildren and all other generation to come. But unfortunately, we have not stood to our promise, and this promise is being broken every day. The governments are indulging in the kind of development without taking, see, development is very important and some degree of impact on climate on environment is imminent, but if they have taken action, they have taken action, they have initiated action. It's only rhetoric that development and destruction, development and biodiversity, they should go side by side. But this is not happening, particularly in this continent. And I'm sure I've seen many parts of South Asia, Southeast Asia also. But some of those countries, Southeast Asian countries, it was very heartening. Recently, I visited Vietnam. Earlier, I had been to Malaysia. They have taken a lot of corrective measures. But here in our country, see, for example, many highways, development of highways is very important for the development of any country. But we could not simultaneously start uh, afforestation. A lot of forests have been cleared around to make roads, but we have not bothered to see that the construction of road, the plantation is also started. And today it gives a very picture of parched land, very difficult site to travel. So what use of these highways if it has lost all its greenery around? So this is a situation. Agriculture in last 30, 40 years in this part, and I'm sure my friends from Africa will also bear with us that see the use of livestock for cultivation, for as a drought animal, all those things have disappeared. It's all mechanized, and we have started talking of organic farming, use of organic manure. See, in agriculture, where is this? Because we have gradually replaced the livestock from tractors, the mechanized farming. Even the poor man tries to fetch a tractor or take or rent a tractor to plow his land, to do harvesting, to do planting, to do threshing, every operation, and that the use of bullock has gone. So if there is a bull and bullock, the livestock gone, so where is the organic manure? Because the source of organic manure has gone. So now we are using more and more fertilizer. So this is the situation that soil conditions are becoming worse for water percolation. the leaf litter has gone. The If the leaf litter has gone, there is no water to everything is flowing in the river, stream, perennial streams, and going to meet the rivers and ultimately to the ocean. And if there was anything which you could have done, say about 2, 3 decades ago, taken a precaution, that we'll see that the fire is controlled, but fire is not taken because too much temperature, high temperature which used to be in the very in the range of 30, 35 degree is now 45 degree. So 10 degree increase everywhere. I'm not saying atmospheric temperature has increased, but the general temperature, living temperature from 35, the the ruling temperature which was 35 degree is now 45 degree in the month of summer. So it is really becoming very difficult, and that is causing fire. And as a result, all the leaf litter which is on the ground, which used to provide sponge-like conditions, which facilitated water percolation, this all lost. So I would say that today ecosystem is threatened. It is it is starving for water. It is starving for nutrients. If it hasn't got inherent nutrient and water, it cannot pass on to downstream to agriculture areas and living. So there is a lot of problem in getting drinking water. So these are some of the issues I felt I must share with you how things are moving, and it is very appropriate that at this time you are celebrating this. You are talking. You have made this arrangement to bring together young generation who should really be thinking seriously about this. We have no future, but friends, we may have very short life now left because we have already spent almost 8 decades. So, but for you have onerous responsibility on your shoulder. How we should be able to lead a movement, because we see this is a vicious cycle. If we cannot do this destruction of our ecosystem, if we cannot prevent the degradation of our ecosystem, I think we have no future. So, so much as initial remark. I am open for any question. It may be from our friends, foreign friends. Most welcome. Thank you.
So, as rightly said by you, that but I would correct you on one point. You have a lot of future left. 8 decades is not a number that now you don't have a future here. I think being uh, you must be here to guide us to have a better future of ourselves. Whenever I listen to you, it is like, okay, there is so much of knowledge coming from that side that I have to keep my mind too open. Yeah, I have to absorb it completely. And you have correctly said that all the environment depletion, everything is degrading in a way that it must not. The Paris Agreement happened many decades ago, but yet, if we were conscious at that time that still some of us are not, so आज ये नौबत आता ही नहीं. In English, I would say that this time would not have came if we would have taken the option at that time. But due to some casualties, or we were thinking, okay, it will happen after a century, after a long time. But yeah, we are seeing it. Sir has seen it very closely. So now I would like to have Mohammed Alex Korma, then he will proceed ahead with the questions. Alex, you
Yes.
can start.
Yes. Hello,
Yes.
everybody. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, our landed godfather. The second question is, what
Yeah.
evidence is there to show that desertification impacts student attendance and academic performance? in affected areas. That is, we are talking about the health and well-being. I You get me clear?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yes, let me
See,
repeat. Yeah, let me repeat the question. I will also type the question. Okay. The question is, what evidence is there to show that desertification impacts student attendance and academic performance in affected
okay,
areas?
okay,
Yes.
okay. See, if you don't have resources, you don't have resources to proceed. After all, for students, they have to pass. See, you are privileged to be born at a time when there are a lot of enabling environment in the form of science and technology. But if the environment is not proper, the progress, the development of mind, you see, development development of mind and resources to sustain you, because good environment means you can
Okay.
make progress. You can continue your studies. That the impact on intellectual status of grandchildren is going to be affected, and you are not sure about the resources, because these resources are important for your development. But if we have used all our resources, leaving nothing for you, what are you going to do? For example, I gave you an example that the organic manure or cow dung, what we call the animals excreta, which used to be used as a supplement, as a fertilizer, as an organic manure to produce grains. Now you have started using lot of fertilizer, and your generation is seeing only the product, the agriculture produce coming out of fertilizers. The fertilizer is disturbing the fertility status of agricultural land. So you are going to be faced with the disappearance of many biodiversity. Number of plants, number of agricultural products we have witnessed. Maybe this may not be gradually available to you to see. It will be only a story that this used to be produced from this earth, Mother Earth. So this is one thing you will miss, and therefore plus the quality of products. Now you see the water is polluted. You know the vegetables are polluted. Now you see that the grains are polluted. You are getting a product which has seen so much use of fertilizers, so much use of insecticide and pesticide. So these are all going to affect your health. Your longevity is to be affected. Your growth of mind and body is going to be affected. You are not going to get the clean water and clean and hygienic food. So these are very important things, because the basic resources, if they are declining, and they are declining, they don't require evidence. Just you have to look around yourself. Could what was about 20 years back, 30 years back, and what you are having today in many areas, even in your countries in African continent, what we see in the documentation, people are struggling to sustain, because many products have become rare and very scarce. So it is very important that that scarcity has to be avoided, so that it is available. What is available to me should be available to you. But are you sure that what was available 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, you are also getting today? You must have heard from your father. You must have heard from your grandparents that what was available and what is the status. So, friends, I think, friend, let me complete this. I hope I have given you the answer. The evidence is very clear, and every day you can observe yourself. You don't need evidence in the written form. You have to see and watch yourself. When you are using water, what is the problem you are facing? When you are using the agriculture produce, you should be feeling. When you are using herbal medicines, you must be feeling. The air quality of the urban areas, how it has happened. Air quality is the first thing we are being affected in urban areas. And this there is a trend that all urbanites, rich urbanites, are trying to move to the rural areas. So there may be lesser space for those people to live if this happens. Hope I have replied to you. Hello, Anand.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Dr. Yeah. Thank you for a brilliant submission. And for me, I am highly impressed um, by your articulation. You really, really just point out things that we like you said, it is not necessarily means that evidence should be there to showcase. And of course, I hope other colleagues we
Yes.
also understood the importance of what you discussed. Moving forward, I
And
also
friend,
want to.
Mohammed, I'm telling you that the students have great responsibilities. Today's student community has great responsibility. I'm very happy that you people have taken very unique initiative in this regard. This should expand. This should go on.
Thank you, sir, for your appreciating words. Now, Alex, you can go ahead and ask the another question.
Yes, yes, I'm presently typing. So yes, and Doc, the next question is, how does the increase in desertification related health issues such as respiratory problems affect students' ability to learn and participate in school activities? That is, for
Yes.
example, like access to finance, to more resources, resource materials. So the question is talking about how does desertification or health-related issues, desertification affect health-related issues like respiration, understand? And
Yes.
you see that when it affects students, it also affects the ability of students to learn and to participate in school activity. So this is the
Yes.
question that
Yes.
we need your opinion on.
Yeah, this is a very important question you have asked. And first thing, you see, if you are, see, most of our saints and sages, many of our great grandfather who wrote a lot of good things about life, lifestyle and life, they were in the forest areas, surrounded by green and clean water, water falling, flowing uninterrupted. And there they gave a lot of good sermons. They gave a lot of lessons for humanity. They were thousands of years ago. They lived in the forest areas. They acquired knowledge. See, Lord Buddha, the most divine Indian saint, who gave a lot of things to this country and the whole world. See, they all got the knowledge under beneath a tree. So if you are having a good environment around your living place, that is, you are going to definitely have greater concentration of mind. You can learn better, you can understand better. And being closer to nature, being surrounded by nature, and without any problem of say this the air pollution. There is no air pollution there. The air pollution is causing a lot of health problem for the growth of young children. So if that is not there, then you can develop faster. You can make a lot of progress. You can think. You can do a lot of science. You can contribute to your country's development. But local level, at household level, your responsibility increases due to desertification. Because of desertification, many areas become unproductive. So how do you meet the requirement of food? How you meet the requirement of fiber? How do you need, where from you get the money? So resource crunch will be a resource crunch every family will face, and that will impact the education. Parents cannot support your higher education. How do they support you to go for higher education, quality education? That quality education will be the first victim if this desertification continues. Okay, I'm sorry. Could you get it? Mohammed, yes.
Yes, yes, I, hello. Yes.
Yes,
So, thank you very much. I picked up few things, and I
yes,
wanted also to ask a question. So,
yes,
because this is talking about access to finance or
yes,
resources. So, like,
yes,
for example, for student unions in different countries, what would be your advice or your opinion on how to mobilize some of these resources so that they can participate in the so that they can participate in and students will also have the ability to learn, to increase the learning ability and also the participation of students in school activities. So what will
yeah.
be your advice on the strategies student unions should use to have access to some of these resources?
Yeah. See, the first thing is, see, as we have all been talking is about the finance. See, crowdfunding. I mean, we should initiate and let people contribute whatever minimum they can. So have more membership. We come together and have these kind of discussions frequently. It could be focused on a particular content because we are coming from different continents, so it could be gradually focused on a particular continent, maybe Asia or Africa, where the problems are manifold as compared to Europe and America. Our problems are much more, and therefore we should come together. People from Africa and Asia come together and make take initiatives and organize the student force to talk to people, impress by way of writing, by way of organizing such public functions, by crowdfunding. All those things are essential to proceed in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. Um, do we have any other questions for Doc before I go to the fourth question? Do you have any question for Doc?
No, I think you can proceed ahead.
Yes, so let me proceed. Yes, the next question, Doc, is it states that in what way does desertification limit access to essential educational resources such as clean water and safe school environment? That is, we're talking about the economic impact of desertification on education. So the question is posed to say the limited access, understand, of students to 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 access essential educational resources, for example, like clean water in schools. We have the whole of wash facility, that is water sanitation and health
Yes,
hygiene in schools,
yes,
in universities. We also have universities clinic if there are any, and also we have safe space for issues around gender violence if they're around. So the question is asking about how can we have a safe schools environment, that is about the economic impact of desertification on education. Over to you, sir.
yes. Yeah, very correctly, you have diagnosed the likely problem, and you are seeking solution for that. The access will be limited, and your mind will be always busy in accessing the required material, required resources. So that will impact your time, that would impact your health, that will impact the condition of your parents. So all these things will keep on bothering you, and therefore it is very important that desertification should be tamed as much as possible. And this cannot be done overnight. The whole world is talking. But see, when it comes to financing, this is a great problem. Financing is a very difficult. So we'll have to uh, mobilize donors. There are a lot of people who have money globally, and they can assist this forum with money to organize certain models, certain case studies, so that it is disseminated to larger section of society in many parts. That, well, how to ensure that clean water is not only available today, it should be available to your generation and generation after generation, to your generation and generations to come. So this way you can get time to devote on studies. Otherwise, we'll be always bothered. The health problem is a very serious issue nowadays because of desertification, because of pollution. The conditions are becoming very difficult in rural areas, and you have, after all, some responsibility to your parents, to your neighbors, to your countrymen, that we should provide a good environment. So this desertification is responsible for many such melees in the world. Okay.
Yes,
So
thank you very much. Yes.
yeah, resources must be mobilized. Resources must be mobilized. And if we are organized, you see, if the people see that there is a student forum which is thinking on desertification, which is concerned about climate change, see, they will definitely be willing to come to you and to your assistance. And in group we can organize lot of activities, lot of corrective measures. See, nothing is irreversible. We can reverse the whole thing. So we have to take the help of many financing organizations. Yes, yes, Mohammed. Anything?
I think quick one, Doc. I think someone wanted to Walter Osinga, my
Yeah.
brother. I think he wanted to ask a question. So Walter, can you go on, please?
Yes.
You
Yes, so are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
getting me?
Yes,
Yeah. Yes.
Walter, we're getting you live and clear. Welcome, welcome.
So what I just wanted to say was that number
Yes.
3 that was talking about how drought increases respiratory problems in our societies or in our communities. So I just want to give an example of Africa. Africa has been experiencing desertification effects since 2002. We have seen case studies in the Horn of Africa, that is around Somalia, Ethiopia, northern region of Kenya, northeastern region of Uganda, northeastern region of South Sudan, and desertification has been happening in a way that because most Africans rely on firewood, wood fuel for charcoal and cooking and also many other activities. So we have seen a lot of trees being cut down in Africa, and when these trees are cut down, a lot of carbon dioxide is released from these trees because most of these trees are carbon sinks. Because now when you see that a lot of forests are being cut in Africa, you see that the carbon dioxide is released in the atmosphere, increasing the greenhouse gases, and thereby of affecting the ozone layer, and we have all these sun races coming and now leading to desertification. And so when the trees are cut down, as we know that most of these trees are the ones that provide us with oxygen, and also we provide the trees with carbon dioxide. And so when we cut down these trees and also cut down any other, destroy other living animals, and when other animals go into extinction, we see that there is limited oxygen. We see that there is bad air pollution, and we see that, an example, in most of our cities, we see that there are so many cars, there is so much fog, there's so much bad air in the atmosphere and bringing all about these respiratory problems that we see, because even the sources of oxygen that give us the trees, they are being cut down. And also the development structure of our cities. Our cities are built in a way that is not climate resilient. And there was no plan when they were developing our cities. And that's why you see that there are so many old cars in our cities. Our roads are bad, and you see that there is so much air pollution. And these are all the side effects of air pollution. We see there is a rise in respiratory problems, asthma is increasing, pneumonia is increasing, young children are being born with pneumonia and all that. So all these effects are coming from deforestation and increase in fossil fuel use. That is the vehicles, and all the machines. As you see that mostly Africa relies on fossil fuels. That is wood fuel, and also the petrol and the diesel. And for us there have been so many discussions about energy and a just transition. And for us to transition to a clean and renewable energy, we'll need a lot of climate finance that I think Doctor was talking about climate finance. So for Africa to transition from depending on fossil fuels to renewable energy, we need a lot of massive climate finance and money that can enable us to upscale our the use of renewable energy, such as solar and wind energy. As you see that Africa has a lot of potential when it comes to wind energy. Places like the Somalia, places like in the northern region of Kenya, we see that there is, even if they are semi-arid places, we see they have massive potential to upscale wind energy. And so when we have this money and we have all this wind, we can have energy generated. And I'm also very happy that most of the electricity Africa uses is generated from hydroelectricity, that is from the water. And that is where we are really doing good at. We're having our electricity generated from the water, other than the coal or the fossil fuels that are being used mostly in the global north. But yeah, so that I don't want to talk much, but that was it. I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Very well said. Very well. Thank you. It has been very good summarization of your conditions, African conditions. You have summarized very well. I'm very grateful. Thank you very much for this. And one thing you must understand, that clearing of forest is not only that it is generating carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but it is also, see, with every tree you cut, there are other associated small trees and small plants. They are also useful for the ecosystem. They may be useful as a health herbal product. It could be a good source of income to poor who are gatherers. So they are also being destroyed. Plus the system, the ecosystem gets disturbed, and ecosystem gets starved. The water will start flowing instead of going inside the earth. It will start flowing. So this is going to take place in this part. There is a lot of promotional activities for solar appliances, for electric generation, for processing of non-timber forest products. We collect lot of forest products, and they are processed by burning and boiling. So we are replacing it by solar methods. So this way, the fire which was causing forest fire also was responsible for forest fire is getting decreased. So these kind of climate resilient practices must be propagated in different parts, and nobody will listen to anyone other than or better than the students. If you say to your parents, if you convince your parents, I'm sure convincing your parent will make so many parents come around. So this is a very good initiative, and this should be used like this, that students play an important role in their locality, gradually spreading to the message to larger section of society. See, there are some difficulties to the poor man. There are problems. What we are talking, there may be some problem, but there is always a solution. And that solution could be, say, for example, solar, use of water. There are people who are using water, and what is the method of using water? How can we reduce? If this kind of discussion continues in different small groups, I'm sure you can do a lot of good things. Forest, see, forest destruction should not be permitted. We should, here in India, we have stories that the women, they hug the trees. They hug the trees, and they were not prepared to leave the trees. So the felling persons, the felling unit has to go away. So this kind of protest, that all women are mobilized in a particular area where the forest is to be cut. They are just hugging, they are not going to leave. For year, for months, for days, if they come in the morning and they are with the this thing, they खत्म होने पर है, बताओ. So this way you can also propagate. See, these are social moments. Apart from technical moments, talking technical things, I think we also simultaneously start social moments through WhatsApp messages, through case studies, through photographs, how much we are losing. Fishes. See, if there is no water, where do we grow fish? If there is no green matter, there is no greenery, where from you get the fodder for your cattle. So all those things, so we have to see that the climate resilient practices are um, uh, increasingly used, and this is possible in forest management. Here we have some organization, and we take projects in different areas, find out where there are places or there are practices which require fuel wood burning. So we are getting it reduced by helping them to use the solar methods, and they are funded by organizations. So you can also get funds from there may be funding agencies in your areas also. They will be very happy to give you fund if you can devise some climate resilient practices. Okay. Yes.
Yes, thank
Yes.
you very much, Doc. I think like what Walters was talking about, especially for us in the African region. For example,
Yeah.
students are living in the interior, uh, um, at mine site areas. Really, they have challenges in terms of their respiratory problems, because those mining communities are very dusty, and also they cause pollutions, serious pollutions, and that affects all the schools that are close, that are within the mining areas. And if you even go through the mining communities, you understand, you will see that most of the houses are very dusty because of the activities, because they have heavy equipment that are passing throughout, and even the haulage processes, they cause so much of pollutions. And these are the things that have affected the respiratory problems of students within the interior in different African countries, especially like mindset areas. So thank you, Walters, for picking it up. And our next question is going Our next question, Doc, is how does migration caused by desertification impact student population, and what challenges do schools face with accommodating displaced students, curriculum and educational content? I repeat the question. How does
Yes. I think
migration caused by desertification
yes.
impact student population, and what challenges do school face in accommodating displaced students? This question is about non-discrimination, tolerating every student into the educational system. And we the question is also about if desertification impacts student population in school, the learning condition, and also What are also some of the challenges you've experienced in your climate advocacy and as an activist, and in
Yes.
accommodating students that are displaced? What are their roles? It's about curriculum and educational content.
Yes.
Over to you, sir.
Actually, yeah, friend, it's a very good question. See, desertification, first thing happens that if you are not in the vicinity of resources, your parents will move. You will move from, your family will move from those areas in search of other good place for employment. So this is happening. This is happening in our part. This must be happening in Africa. This must be happening in other parts of world. That this desertification is causing social migration in search of employment. 50 to 60% of people who depend on forest products for collection, they are migrating seasonally for 3 to 4 months. And look at the tragedy that young people move, leaving the old behind. So this, who nobody to look after them. So this pathetic condition is very common in many parts of the world, where forest there are people who are living in and around forest areas. The desertification is causing a lot of problem like this. Migration is a very serious issue. Yes.
Yeah,
So,
so
it was the last question. Now we are done with the question and answer round. We will just
Yeah, we have another question. I think
Yeah.
it's not the last question. We have
Okay.
also the seventh question is: are there any example of educational program or curricula that adheres the certification and its effect? Are you aware of any educational program or any country that have developed a policy, an educational policy that addresses the certification? And if yes, what's the effect or the impact it has on the educational development in that particular country? Moving forward, we also want to know how can integrating this topic into the educational system mitigate its impact. That is, for example, if there are no examples or if you've not noticed any educational program or any curricula in the world that is addressing the certification, if it is also possible for us to include this in our educational system, so that it will be one of the way to mitigate climate change, and also to improve what we call climate smart education in the world.
You see,
That is teacher
the
training and support.
actually these are curriculum which are tailor made for particular of stakeholders. Say for example, for teachers there are courses on climate change, there are courses distance mode questions, there could be training program which can be organized for teachers, for students, for others. Plus there could be change in your curriculum. There are a lot of volunteers throughout the world. If you just search on Google, I think you can get a lot of such programs online. And it's very difficult to travel and meet your expenses, so it's the best to use the online course curriculum to equip yourself as a good teacher, as a good student, for how, what could be the climate resilient practices, what are the challenges, what should we do, what kind of precautions we take. These are all available online, so there is no problem. But because there is no formal education, it is being gradually incorporated in the educational programs of each country, must be in Africa also, because climate change is now being taught, desertification is being taught, but in a small portion. But we need to develop better curriculum with number of great number of case studies that will help people throughout the world. But as a student forum, I think you should make a group which can compile these case studies and pass on to needy people, throughout the world. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so as we come to almost the end of the event, I would like to
Yes.
present my gratitude to Dr. Ram Prasad sir. At this
Yeah.
age also, he is continuously working. He is inspiration for all of us. We are sitting, we are the younger generations, but he have worked for a lot of decades and he is still not taking the rest and continuing the work for the nation and for the world and for the planet especially. And I must say, your experience was really valuable to us. Now I think we have came to an end. I present thank you to you as a coordinator of this group. Here we
Thank
end
you.
our event. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you. Thank you.
We hope to
Yes.
collaborate with you in future as well.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Coordinator, sir. Coordinator Anand. I want